This is an NBC News special report. Here's Lester Holt.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're coming on the air with an update of the Iowa Caucus, a news conference by the Iowa State Democratic Party, which has struggled since the caucuses ended last night to provide any results. They're holding a news conference right now. Let's take you there.
What happened last night? The reporting of the results and circumstances surrounding the 2020 Iowa Democratic Party caucuses were unacceptable. As chair of the party, I apologize deeply for this. Last night, we were faced with multiple reporting challenges and decided, out of an abundance of caution, to protect the integrity of the Iowa caucuses and their results by taking the necessary steps to review and confirm the data. A thorough, transparent, and independent examination of what occurred yesterday will follow. But let me be clear. My number one priority has been on ensuring the accuracy and integrity of the results. And we have been working all night to be in the best position to report results. And here, in just a couple of minutes, we will be reporting 62% of precincts from all 99 counties. The bottom line is that we hit a stumbling block on the back end of the reporting of the data. But the one thing I want you to know, we know this data is accurate. And we also have a paper trail and documentation that have been able to use to provide information to help verify the results. This is personal to me. I'm a lifelong Iowan. I have caucused for 20 years. And I know how important it is to our party, to our state, and to everyone, from our neighbors to new voters, to be able to come together all across this state. We want Iowans to be confident in the results and in the process, and we are going to take the time that we need to make sure that we do just that. So I know folks are going to want to be seeing the results as they come in, but I'm happy to take a couple of quick questions before that happens.
How can anyone trust you now?
We have been working day and night to make sure that these results are accurate. The one thing I will say is that the underlying data, the raw data, is secure. It was always secure. This was a coding error in one of the pieces on the back end, but the raw data, the data that has come in, is secure, and I can assure Iowans of that.
Do you worry this could cost you your first in the nation status? Do you worry it could cost you your first in the nation status or endanger the caucuses as a nation?
The fact is that this is a conversation that happens every 4 years. There's no doubt that that conversation will take place again. But right now, my focus is making sure that we get these results out. We are going to continue to do that, and we will have the results out as soon as we can. Jeff.
When do you believe you'll get to 100%? And how can you assure Americans that these are verifiably accurate results?
Well, we're going to take the time we need to get these results done. Now that we have the first batch that's going to be coming out here in a couple of minutes, we're going to continue to go through our processes, verifying everything. But the thing to remember here, folks, is that we have a paper trail. We have always said all along that throughout this process that we have backups to this system, that we have redundancies built in. And one of the ways that we do that is through the paper trail. Now, the fact is that as we started doing this last night, it took longer than we expected. And so, but my paramount concern is making sure that these results are accurate and reflect what happened last night in caucuses across the state. We're going to do just that, and we're going to take the time we need to do that.
When was the app submitted for review by an independent third party? Why was the app never tested statewide? And why did the Iowa Democratic Party deny the Department of Homeland Security's offer to test the app?
We have, I have no knowledge of the Department of Homeland Security making that offer to us. I will say that we have worked with cybersecurity experts, nationally renowned cybersecurity experts, to test this app and to do testing and security checks on this app. We took the steps we felt was necessary, but we found a coding error last night once we discovered some irregularities as the results started to come in. Yeah.
But why was it never tasted?
Testing when you had the internal testing or the third-party testing?
What's that?
Were there any coding discrepancies during the third-party testing?
No, there weren't, and that's why what happened last night is simply unacceptable. And so, again, we're going to have a thorough and independent review of exactly what happened last night. Right now, we're in the process of making sure that we get these results out, and that's what we're going to stay focused on. Yeah.
Donald Trump has suggested that this whole process is rigged. How do you combat that? How do you assure Americans that this is trustworthy, this data?
We have said all along that we were going to make these caucuses the most transparent possible. This year, we're reporting out more data than we ever have reported before. And in addition to that, we have paper trails that we've never had before. And so we're going to take the time we need to verify these results, but these results are being based off what happened in the precincts last night. When I ran for chair, I made a commitment to see the caucus process through. That is what I am working on. That is what I will continue to work on. And whatever happens after that is to be determined. Anyways, thank you all, folks. The results are coming in. We will see you later.